Being a hero is no easy task, so you deserve some personal time. So put your feet up, relax, and maybe see if you can outdrink the wizard this time in the Red Dragon Inn. Hi, I'm Jason. Today we're going to take a look at Red Dragon Inn from Slugfest Games. It's a competitive drinking game set in a fantasy world where they probably fight the odd dragon in dungeons periodically. No affiliation with anything you might be thinking of right now. You're literally going to pick one of 4 fantasy adventurer hero types, intending to relax after a long adventure in the inn by challenging each other to a drinking contest, because why not? Everyone's going to start with an amount of gold, and they're going to have drink cards, and you're going to drink your drinks, gamble, and win and lose money. The objective is to be the last one at the table, because if you pass out from alcohol, the wench will drag you back up to your room to sleep it off, but you're out of the game. And if you run out of money, you can't afford a room, so the wench drags you outside, and you get to sleep in the stables. However, if you manage to be one of the last ones at the table with even 1 gold to your name and even semi-conscious, then you will win Red Dragon Inn. So let's take a look at how the game actually plays. Now I want to interject with one thing here. I say 4 characters. In this box, there is indeed 4 characters. But in this box, there's 4 more characters. In this box, other 4 characters. And there's 4 more boxes with 4 more characters. There's 3 boxes with 2 characters. And there's 9 boxes with 1 character. So a total of, I think, 43 characters? That sounds about right. So if you get, and they're all fully compatible and interchangeable, so if you get a couple different boxes, you can play characters from all different ones. If you have all of them, you have too many choices, I would say. But they're all very interesting because every character is unique and distinct from the others. So I'm not going to tell you the complicated ones that come in this box. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll briefly cover what makes the characters from these 2 boxes unique, other than the fact that these 4 characters are actually the crew, the staff of the tavern the drinking game takes place in, and these 4 are not the heroes of the realm, but in fact 4 villains who are technically drinking in not the Red Dragon Inn. They're drinking in some like dark dungeon tavern. The name is in the rules, and I've only read it one time. I've only seen the name of it one time. So the other thing, though, before I put these away, the box says 2 to 4 players, but it says 2 to 4 players or more with expansions. So you might think, okay, 6 players, let's say. That's a pretty sizable game. The rules actually specify for setup, you get a different amount of gold based on player count. And it says, for 7+ characters, get 10 gold each. I want you to get this sink in. This game is designed to support basically as many players as you want. Now, I'm not saying you should have a 20-player game of Red Dragon Inn, but I think it's possible that you could have a 20-player game of Red Dragon Inn, and Slugfest Games do not want to prevent you from fulfilling that dream that you now have. So we'll set these aside for now. Let's take a look at how generally every game of Red Dragon Inn will go. Alright, to set up Red Dragon Inn, each player will get a player board, which they will take their personal deck, place it in the deck portion of their board. Some of the sets have different player boards, like the ones from 6 and 7. They have much smaller boards, look like this. I mean, they look nicer for sure, with the art on them. These are from the first set. I'm not saying they weren't trying to put as much art in as possible, because the cards are full of art. And there's no shortage of art in this game. But, I mean, I do prefer the look of these ones. This is the Mind Flayer character. But no matter what, you're going to have a player board which will have on it the actions you'll take on your turn, a way to track your fortitude and your alcohol content, a spot to accumulate drinks that you will have to drink, and then your deck and your discard pile. So you'll take your player board, you put your deck in the deck spot. Everyone will get their first drink face down into their drink me pile. Everyone will get, I believe, 10 gold for, we'll set up a 3-player game here. I think for 3, 4, 5, 6 players is 10 gold. For 2 players, it's I think 12 gold, and for 7+. I think it's actually 8 gold. I think it said 10 before. I think it's 8 gold for 7+. Everyone will draw a hand of 7 cards. And then set 1 at least came with glass beads to track your fortitude and alcohol content. So over the course of the game, you'll be drinking drinks which will increase your alcohol content, and certain cards, mostly played by your opponents, will do damage to you and you will decrease your fortitude. Now, if your alcohol content ever meets or exceeds your fortitude, you pass out. It's that simple. And turns in this game are so straightforward that I'm just going to play a few hands of an actual game as if we were playing this, because it's really, I feel like it's the best way to explain how things are going. Largely, you're just going to do what I'm about to show you I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with Deirdre the Priestess here. So turn order here is discard and draw. So I can discard and redraw as many cards as I want. Now, if I had more than 7 cards for some reason, I could choose to not discard and draw at all, because you're discarding and drawing back up to 7. So if I had 9 cards right now, I discarded 3 cards, I'd only get to draw 1 more to get back to 7. So the second was action card. So I can play 1 card that has the action keyword on it. It'll either be an action card, a sometimes card, or an anytime card. So anytime card, you might assume you can play anytime. Sometimes are contextual. They'll specify when you can play it. And action cards are the 1 card you can play on your turn. So I might as well play. I only have 1 action card, so I'm gonna play it. So I'm gonna play Gambling. I'm in. So Gambling. The gambling card starts a sort of a sub game inside Red Dragon Inn, and it says every player must play 1 gold, or ante 1 gold rather, into a pot. That's unless you have a card that prevents you from doing that, that's mandatory. So now we're in a round of gambling, which means we're not drinking, we're not playing action cards. As we go around the table, the objective now is to play a card that lets you take control of the round of gambling. Whoever's in control wins once everyone else has passed, basically. So we'll go over to Fiona. Does she have a gambling card? She does have a Gambling I'm in, which is what I've played. She also has an I raise. So I'm going to play that just to play something different. So I raise, she takes control of the round of gambling, and everyone must contribute 1 more gold to the pot. You could pass on your turn and not play a card, which means you don't take control of gambling, obviously, but you're not out of the round. The only way to get out of a round of gambling is if a card effect says that you are out of the round. Now, we go over here to Gurki. Gurki is the character who's all about gambling. He has more gambling cards than others, I'm pretty sure. He has more cheating cards. So, in gambling, there's 4 types of cards. There's Gambling I'm in, which you can play to continue gambling. There's I raise, as you see here. There's Winning Hand, which can only be followed up by a cheating card. Otherwise, you win if you play Winning Hand. He's going to play Gambling I'm in. So now Gurki is control of the gambling. We go back over to here to Deidre. Now, she doesn't have any cheating cards, I'm pretty sure. I think she's the nice priestess character. She's above that. So she does have another Gambling I'm in. So I'm going to play another Gambling I'm in. And Fiona over here, she's also going to play Gambling I'm in. And Gurki is going to play... Gurki has a card he could play. But if he passes and everyone else passes, then it doesn't get back to him. So he couldn't make use of it. So I was thinking I could hang on to it, but I'm not going to hang on to it. I'm just going to play it just for the sake of playing it, which is a cheating card called Oops, I dropped my cards. All the cards have thematic names, and they're all great. I haven't... that's the first one I've played that had like a fun name. So Deidre has only an I raise left, and she can't win. That's all she has. She's not going to win gambling. So she's going to pass. Fiona does not have... She has an I raise card. You know what? She's going to raise 1 more time. So everyone has to put a coin in. Even though Deirdre passed, she's still in the gambling. And then Gurki over here. Gurki doesn't have any more gambling cards. So Fiona actually wins all this money. So we've had 1 player has played 1 card on their first turn. And all this has happened. So I'm now down 3 gold over here. Gurki's down 3 gold. And Fiona's up 6 gold. It seems unlikely she's going to be out of the game anytime soon. So it's still Deirdre's turn. That was her action card. So unless she has a sometimes card she'd want to play, which she doesn't, she buys drinks. So the buy drinks phase is that you don't have to pay for it. It says buy, but you don't have to pay for it. You take the top card of the drink deck, and you give it to any player. You could give it to yourself. There's probably a reason you'd want to do that. I'm going to give it to Fiona because she's got so much money. And I'm also going to play a sometimes card called, which says play during the buy drinks phase. I pay 1 gold to the inn, and I buy 2 more drinks, and I put them wherever I want. So I'm going to give 1 to Gurky and 1 more to Fiona. Then I drink. So the drink phase is to take the top card of your drink deck, flip it over, and drink it. So in this case, it's a Dragon Breath Ale, which is the highest alcohol content card I could have drawn. It's a 4. So I reveal this card, and if I had any cards that could reduce how much alcohol I get from it, so drop that number down, I could play one now. If other players had cards that increase the drink, they could play those. You basically just give everyone a chance to... oh, no, that's not relevant. Give everyone a chance to mess with your drinks. But no one can, so I'm going to drink this. It gets discarded, and my alcohol goes up by 4. Now my drink me pile is empty, so someone else is going to want to buy me a drink, because in my next drink phase, if there's no drink here, I'll actually sober up by 1 and go back down to 3. But that's the end of Deirdre's turn. A lot just happened, and that's one player's turn. So let's see what Fiona's capable of. So discard and draw phase. She's not going to discard anything, but then she'll obviously draw back up to 7. Oh, that's not the right deck. 5, 6, 7. And let's see here. So I'm going to she's going to start with an anytime card, which is, I'll read the title to you. It says, we're at an inn and you're not drinking, what's wrong with you? So it says, pick another player, they must drink the top card of their drink me pile. So she's going to pick Gurky. And this is a drink event that I actually haven't seen somehow. It's called Round on the House. You reveal a top card of the drink deck and everyone drinks it. I drew another drink event. It says to ignore that, draw another one. So a Troll Swill, which is 1 alcohol, and also you'll lose 1 fortitude. So everyone gains an alcohol and loses a fortitude. It does say on here, if you're a troll, it's only 2 alcohol. And I know one of the sets has a troll in it, but not one of the ones I have, which is kind of funny that set 1 came with a drink card that affected a character that hadn't existed yet. They thought ahead. And then as her action card, she's going to play... So then I got the ogre in a headlock like this. Pick another player, they lose 3 fortitude. So she's going to pick, I don't know, Deirdre. 1, 2, 3, loses 3 fortitude. That's her action phase. She's going to buy a drink. She's always going to buy a drink for me, because if she doesn't, then Gurky will have to, and who knows what they're going to do. And then they're going to drink a card. So they flip this over, and Wizard Brew is 2 alcohol and gain 2 fortitude. So she does gain 2 alcohol, but then she goes back up to 20 fortitude. And that's the end of her turn. So over here to Gurky. Gurky needs to discard and draw. No, I'm going to keep those. 6 and 7. Okay, action phase. I feel like Gurky has a lot of non-action keyword cards. Like cards just do extra things because he's sneaky like that. So he's going to play this. Oh, this gold piece? I found it under your chair. Pick a player, they must pay you 1 gold. Obviously that's coming from Fiona. And then his action phase will be... Says, guys, I think there was a miscalculation during Treasure Division, and it says in brackets, you annoy the others until each other player pays you 1 gold. There's a lot of flavor text on these cards, and I really like that. So everyone pays Gurky 1 gold. You know what? Deirdre isn't going to pay Gurky 1 gold. She's going to play My Goddess Provides, which means that when she would lose gold, it comes from the inn instead. Everyone has a card like that, I think. There's a lot of the cards in the decks are common, like gambling cards, don't mess with the drinks, tip the waitress, or tip the wench. A lot of people don't have to pay gold, take from the inn instead. But a lot of the decks are unique cards to the character. So Gurky played his action card, He has nothing else to play for this. He's going to play the same one that Deirdre played to pay 1 gold at the end to buy 2 extra drinks. So he's going to buy a drink for 2 drinks for Deirdre, and he'll drink a card. And so it's unfortunate this came up when it did. So this says it's got a 1 alcohol and a +1, which is light ale with a chaser. So the plus sign is a chaser. So if he had another card in his deck, like I've got 3 cards here, you would draw the next card and add that on. And if it had a plus sign, you would draw the next card and add that on. And you would get this big crazy drink with like all these different effects that then add together. Now, Gurky does have a card that says, no, he doesn't have a card. One of them has a card that says negate a drink. Now, you would wait until the whole drink is created before you'd say, I negate the whole thing, or someone else could modify it as a whole. Unfortunately, it just came up like this, so it's just 1 alcohol. That's not the end of the world. Now, Gurky has no drinks, so someone's going to have to buy him a drink. So back to Deirdre. Now, we've gone around the table. We've done a gambling. We even did a drink event. There's a couple different drink events. And this is how the game's going to go. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to play an anytime card called My Goddess Heals Me and King 2 Fortitude. She's going to play another one, why not? Heal 2 Fortitude, back up to 20. And as her action card, she's going to play I'm Not That Kind of Priestess. And another player loses 2 Fortitude. So we're going to attack Fiona here, unless she has a card that prevents that. She does not. Okay, so that's my action card. So we buy drinks. I'm going to buy a drink for Gurky. I'm going to drink, top card, and it's a light ale. You see there's a light ale with a chaser here. This is just light ale, so it's just 1 alcohol. And then Fiona here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She's going to play, hey guys, can I borrow some gold? Armor repair isn't cheap, you know. Each of the player pays her 1 gold. You could see in a game with many players, everyone paying you 1 gold could get a little out of hand. And that was her action card, so that's all she's going to do for that. She's going to buy drinks. She's going to buy a drink for Gurky, let's say, and drink 1 of her cards. And it's another light ale, so it's only 1 Fortitude. Now, I was hoping there'd be a bigger one, because she actually has a card that she can play when drinking a drink that adds the alcohol content of a drink to her Fortitude rather than alcohol content. Which is called nothing like a little belt of liquid courage. So, like I said, she's all about dealing damage and also negating or reducing damage. We'll do 1 more turn with Gurky here, just to go around the table all the way. 5, 6, 7. It's nothing really super interesting to do here. He has a lot of contextual cards, as I mentioned, and maybe I should have discarded some of them and drew more, but he's going to play, uh-oh, I forgot to disarm 1 of the traps. Pick another player to lose 3 Fortitude. Now, Gurky's playing against 2 characters who have a greater capacity for healing than some of the other characters, so dealing damage to them isn't necessarily the best way to deal with both Fiona and Deirdre. Against Zot, the other character in this set, might have been better, but he's going to make, let's say, Fiona take 3 damage. 1, 2, 3, just to burn through some of her healing cards. Now, does she have a way to ignore that? She does not. But she does have an anytime card called I'm a Quick Healer, and she can gain 2 back. So this is how the game's going to go. It's going to go back and forth. Everyone's going to gain alcohol, and lose Fortitude, and hopefully gain Fortitude back. And, oh, I guess I should buy a drink for Fiona, and then drink a drink, which is an elven wine, is 3 alcohol. And you're going to play like this. Like it says here on the box, I think it says 15 to 20 minutes per player. That seems a bit accurate. No one's really close to losing money, although Deirdre does only have 5 gold, so a couple rounds of gambling and she'd probably be out of luck. But it's funny because it really builds up. All of a sudden you're going to realize that players are real close to passing out, and then it's like, how can we pile on these players and speed things up? So it really ramps up towards the end. I mean, that's the basic gameplay loop. The only thing that hasn't come up was one of the first cards I drew by accident was Drinking Contest. So when you reveal a drinking contest, when you're drinking a drink, it says that every player reveals a card from the drink deck and they drink it. Whoever drank the highest alcohol content gains 1 gold from each other player. So everything else in here is just a drink or a drink with a chaser. They might be holy water, or just gives you +2 health back. There's dirty dishwater, which is just -1 fortitude. There's coffee, is -1 alcohol. There's fun things, and each set comes with its own deck of 30 drink cards. Now, if you can combine them, if you have multiple sets, you want to use drinks from all of them, you can either use all of them, or you could choose the cards you want to use. You'd shuffle them up. I don't know why you wouldn't just use all of them, but you shuffle them together and then take 30 cards and put them out as the drink deck and set the rest of them off to the side. When in a normal game when the drink deck runs out, everyone has to pay a gold to shuffle the discard pile and like order a new round of drinks. If you're shuffling a whole bunch of decks together, drink decks together, you would pay 1 gold and you wouldn't shuffle the discard pile because you wouldn't have a discard pile. You would bring in the next 30 cards from the combination of cards you shuffle together. And I don't think that the drink decks have anything on them that distinguishes them between sets. Maybe they do. Maybe it's this here. It does have a 1 in the corner. Yeah. Okay, forget that. The drink decks definitely tell you which set each one comes from. But yeah, I feel like that's everything you need to know about Red Dragon Inn. Each character is going to do something a little different, so you're going to have to get used to it and figure out how they work. But the rules are not formatted the best, but they do give you a real good idea of what to expect from each character. And online, you certainly find out if you search hard enough, you can certainly find out what each character is about, what they add, what they how they play. And really, you can't go wrong with any of the characters. Of all the characters I've seen, do I have favorites? Yeah, but like, I'd be happy playing any of them. If you're followed along this far and you think this is interesting, I highly recommend checking out at least one box of Red Dragon Inn. So as promised, we're going to take a look at just a quick overview of the cards that I have, just to get an idea of like what kind of different cards there are available. So up here, the top row here, we've got the set 1 box over here. These 4 are the simplest cards. They are the original ones, so they didn't expand to a lot of like weird, odd things. So they have pretty straightforward differences. Zot and Pookie. Zot is a wizard, Pookie is his animal familiar. Most of his cards are, he does magic to avoid drinks or damage or do damage. Pookie is a vicious rabbit, so a lot of his attack cards are Pookie attacking people or messing with people. So his thing is that he has Pookie. But realistically, if you're going to play Zot to have Pookie, you might as well just play Pookie. Pookie has his own deck. You're playing an angry rabbit. His neat thing is that, other than being a rabbit, you have a card to track his mood, and the worse mood he's in, the more damage he does. His cards are contextual. So his cards might do more damage if he's in a worse mood. They might do no damage if he's pacified. His mood becomes worse when he takes damage. If he drinks a drink that's too alcoholic, some of his cards just say his mood worsens. He's pretty fun to play. He's a little unpredictable because from turn to turn, like what he's capable of changes as his mood goes up and down. But I like Pookie a lot. Back to set 1 though. Gurky the Sneak is all about gambling and cheating and stealing. So a lot of his cards are stealing money from other players or the inn, cheating at gambling, so he's going to win. He's the most cheating cards I've seen so far. I think he might have the most start gambling cards too. But that's what he boils down to, gambling and stealing money. Deirdre the Priestess is a healer, so some of her cards are things like she'll heal someone's fortitude when you don't even ask her to, but then she'll charge you money for her services because, oh, she healed you, you now have to pay her money for her healing services. I think she has very few or no gambling cards, and certainly no cheating cards, because she is better than that. And then Fiona the Volatile is kind of a fighter character, so a lot of her cards are doing damage or negating or reducing incoming damage. The red card here, that's the human vampire Vlaslo, and he can turn into a wolf and a bat. So that's what makes him unique. He collects blood tokens. He can spend blood tokens when he's drawing cards to buy cards from either of these decks that get then permanently added to his main deck. And the bat cards let him avoid damage and avoid effects from other players, and the wolf cards are, as you would expect, attack cards. Darika, the Mindbreaker. I haven't played with her, I get the sense that she has cards that manipulate other players, so it's still like, oh, this player takes damage, or this player loses a gold, or whatever, but it's more thematically like, she's not doing it to them, they're doing it to themselves. This guy over here, the Goblin King, let me get this right. Torgal Snarf Dunkleton, first of his name. That's what it says on the card. His thing is primarily that he is the Goblin King and he has minions. So some of his cards are minion cards. They'll come out, they'll stay in front of him and provide passive benefits, which other players can then, when they would do damage to the Goblin King, they could instead choose to damage a minion he has out to remove his passive benefit. But instead of killing the minion, the Goblin King could pay the wages of the minion to retain them, and the cards will say on them wages 2, wages 3. You just pay that money to back to the reserve, and you get to keep your minion. Amandir the Cursed, she's an elf mummy, and some of her cards will give other players scarab tokens, and they'll sit in front of them. And at the end of a player's turn, if they have scarab tokens, they will take damage per scarab token. So I haven't seen her either, I don't think. I think I would remember that. But that sounds pretty bad. I bet games against her don't go too well. And then the final set here, set 7, this is the Tavern crew. You have the Bouncer, the Wench, the Proprietor of the Bar, and the Stable Hand. So the Bouncer is the easiest one to describe. Jasper the Bouncer is a human mage. He's mostly about doing damage, because he'll rough you up when you get out of line. And strangely, he has a card that removes himself and another player from the game for, I think, 1 round. Like, he takes you outside and just removes you from the bar for a while. And strategically, I'm not sure how that would come into play. I've only played the Wench of this set, so I don't know what the strategy is for these characters, but he doesn't have any extra cards. He just does damage and tries to keep the peace. He also prevents stealing. A couple of his cards prevent stealing. They'll be like an I don't think so, but specifically for stealing. Might be interesting to play that against Gurki the Sneak. The Wench, as you can see here, has her own special cards called Special Reserve. So this is a drink deck. She'll have a card that says, give another player a special reserve drink. So they'll put that card, whatever the next card is, on top of their drink deck. It will always stay on top, so if they get new drinks, it'll go underneath the Wench's cards. And when they drink their card, yes, they'll increase their alcohol content, but they'll also leave the card face up in front of them to get passive benefits, like... Okay, so some of them are actually bad. Like this one here just says pay 1 gold to the end. Some of these are actually drinking contests. But I know there's some that are actually they're actually good, so it's sort of it's a gamble to get one, but again, you're not in control of getting them. But kind of like Amandir's Scarab tokens, it's sitting there, you know you're going to have to face it, and you don't know what it's going to be. And, I mean, no one knows what it's going to be. So that's a fun thing. I didn't give out too many of the drinks when I played as her, but the ones I did were pretty entertaining. The proprietor of the bar, Warthorn Redbeard, he's the owner. I think he's also the bartender, and he likes to tell stories. So he's got a deck of stories. Some of his cards will say, they'll have a pipe icon on them, like a tobacco pipe. And when he plays one of those cards, he'll draw the top card of his stories deck, and it will add an effect or possibly modify the effect of the original card. This one here says gain 1 gold from the inn. So he might play a card that says leave a round of gambling, and it's got a pipe on it, and you'll go, and it says, did I ever tell you about my latest inventory audit? And then the flavor text is, nobody cares. Gain 1 gold from the inn. And then he says, you adventurers just don't appreciate the finer points of business. So I love that he just goes off on, stories about whatever, just distract from the game, and is like, oh, did I ever tell you about this thing that happened to me here? And as a result of the story he tells, something in-game happens, which... I don't know if he's telling stories about, what's happening right now. One of them is the kitchen's on fire. Did I ever tell you about the time the kitchen caught fire? And I can imagine that is not a story that happened before. He's just sitting around the bar, and he's just sort of like, hey, the kitchen's on fire. And that's how he brings it up, just casually brings it up. Kitchen's on fire, because everyone takes damage. And if it's a story about a time a previous time the kitchen caught fire, everyone taking damage wouldn't make any sense. And then the last one here, Molly's Stable Hand. She has a deck of animal cards. And some of them, if not all of them, are mounts. I thought some of them weren't for some reason. So the way that she works, start of every turn, and whenever she plays a card that has a horseshoe icon, she'll draw the top card of her stable deck and add it to her player area. She can have 3 at most. And these cards will either have an immediate effect when it appears, a passive effect while it's in her display, or it could act as a sometimes card, so she could choose to discard it to take a sometimes effect. Just it's like an extra card form. But some of the animals rather, don't like each other. Elendrel the Unicorn, if he's out in your tableau and then you draw Sparkles the Nightmare. Didn't know his name was Sparkles, that caught me off guard. Sparkles and Elendrel have text on that says rival and then the other one's name. So when an animal comes out that doesn't like an animal that's already present, they will fight. You will take damage because of their fight, and then the older one gets discarded, and then the newer one comes into play. He also has Pookie, and Pookie's rival is everyone else. So when Pookie comes out, you lose every mount. Pookie's effect is everyone loses 1 fortitude. Pookie is an unstoppable rage machine. You might not have put that together yet. Kisses the dire mosquito. Yeah, I said kisses the dire mosquito. Reduces the alcohol content of a drink you're about to drink by 2. He's a sometimes card. So he would sit out, you'd go drink a card, and you go, drink a drink, and you go, no, I'm going to discard kisses, gain 2 less alcohol than I would have gained. There's so much replayability just with these 13 characters, and there's 30 characters I don't have, and I would like. Maybe when I get them, I'll do a video that covers the ones I'm missing. Hopefully this has given you a bit of an idea of how different the characters can be, and what you can get from at least these 3 sets. Well, 4 if you count Pookie. Pookie came on his own in a solo box. There's 9 solo boxes, 3 boxes that come with 2 characters, 4 more big boxes that add 4 more characters and other things that I mostly don't even know about. But anyway, so that's all for that. So hopefully that was a good overview of Red Dragon Inn. You'll learn something. Maybe you'll think about picking one of these up or one of the other ones and learn about some different characters. Again, if you go online, you can definitely find out information about all the characters. The Slugfest Games website does have a list of all the characters and tells you what's good and bad about them. It's a thematic, like in-game description of like what they're good or bad at, like bad at hanging on to their money. I think Fiona says bad at hanging on to her money, but good at defending herself or being strong or something along those lines. That's where I'm going to leave it for now, so thanks for joining me. I'm Jason. This has been Red Dragon Inn, and we'll catch you next time.